The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Tears began to trickle down the face of an elderly and old German priest as he explained his experience of being a German soldier during World War II. Father Joseph, as he explained his experience to a group of priests gathered at a pastoral council, our hearts broke as he explained and told his story. He was only 17 years old, Father Joseph. Joseph was just a kid when he was forced to serve in the German army. This is not what he wanted for his life. And he revealed to those attending this conference, he said, I really wanted to be the next Rudy Valley. Not sure what a Rudy Valley is, but I'm sure he would have been a good one. Father Joseph went on and he said, about a night, again, he was just 17 years old. There he was, serving on the front line, a gun over his shoulder. He was called to be a sentry, a lookout on the front line. He would be at his post from about midnight until the break of dawn. It was bitter cold that night, and boredom began to set in. So he pulled out his rosary that he had hidden in his uniform. He had sewn into his uniform so no one would notice. He took it out in order to pass the time as he conducted his sentry, his duty. He finished the creed. I'm going to put you on the spot. What's after the creed in the rosary? Our Father. Excellent, very good. Fine Catholic education you have. Our Father. He could only get as far as those two words. Our Father. And he just began to weep. He broke down. Our Father. There he was, gun in hand, frightened. Frightened he would have to shoot someone or someone would shoot him. And now, in the midst of prayer, he could only say those two words. He was stuck. Our Father. Joseph then said to himself, how could I say those two words, our Father, realizing that the man that I was to shoot is the Father. That's the Father's Son. that I would have to shoot, or he would have to shoot me. That's the father of that man, that soldier. At that very moment, with just those two words, our Father, Joseph said he got the courage somewhere to abandon his weapon, to abandon his post, and to flee to Switzerland. All because he realized that God is the Father of us all. All because Joseph could see in the other his own self. He could see the image and likeness of God. He could see Jesus. He could see his brother and sister. So he left it all behind because he could identify with the other, not his enemy, but his brother and sister. Our Father. I'm not sure today that Jesus would necessarily approve of a feast such as Christ the King, designating him as a king. We see throughout the scriptures that Jesus avoided titles, shied away from them. He was never really comfortable with kingship. Indeed, he was all about the kingdom of God and proclaiming the reign of God. But it was unlike any kingdom that existed on the face of the earth. He was uncomfortable with kingship, but he was more at home with kinship. Human, the least, the lost, and the last. Today's gospel, which is a vision of the reign of God, of the kingdom of God, the sheep and the goats, feeding the hungry, poor, stranger. This is the kingdom vision in Matthew. And this gospel is demanding and challenging because this gospel asks us to simply not to simply serve the poor, the hungry, the imprisoned, which we need to do, but it asks us much more of us, and this is where it's demanding. It invites us, this gospel today invites us to completely and fully identify with the stranger, with the hungry, and with the imprisoned. It's incarnation. It's a mutuality being called for here. To not simply just serve, but to become one with, in solidarity, and to enflesh ourselves in our brothers and sisters, a solidarity, a family, a kingdom. Thus, in this kingdom of God that Jesus has so boldly proclaimed and is seen in today's gospel from Matthew, it requires of us to not simply stand. It's not good enough for us to simply stand at the margins anymore. But like Jesus, to begin tearing down those walls. First of all, not even to build them, or anything that separates or causes division. It's time to erase the margins. Because those margins, those walls, keep us from being family, the reign of God. This kingdom vision means to be one with those that the world considers to be disposable, that can be thrown away. I just think recently how difficult it is to often to listen to the news at night, or even our government leaders in the midst of this pandemic. And they tell us, don't worry about the pandemic. It's only killing those in nursing homes and our elderly. Like they can be thrown away. The kingdom vision is about us being with Jesus. All those who the world might just simply throw away, to unite with them and to be in solidarity with them, so that we might show forth that all human life is valued and sacred. It is to be able to identify and be one with those that the world demonizes. I just think recently, as we received the McCarrick report, which was shameful, very difficult to read, and I thought at that moment, so often we have demonized those voices of victims, of whistleblowers, who simply want to tell us the truth. And it's in that telling of the truth. That's the only way for us, for the church, for all of us, to become more transparent, to be a better church, a place where the vulnerable are cared and protected. It's truth that sets us free. So these are the ones that we become one with. And so today, maybe Jesus would be comfortable with this title of king, because it is the least, the lost, the last, who are the royalty, the human family. This is the reign of God. This is the solemnity in which we celebrate.